Silence.
Yeah.
The only thing I've been playing with, I picked up a card way back when, never really looked at it, called a SpeakEasy from Thinkertoys. It's
Yep.
essentially a cassette, serial and parallel type card. And so I was able to get the serial to kind of function. I'm able to, echo characters off of it. And then I've been playing with the cassette, and I get it. I get it to put tones on a cassette. Haven't been able to. I can read the tones off, but they aren't matching what I'm putting on there yet. So it could be, dirty cassette. It could, I got a bunch of things I'm still playing with. But all in all, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't have like you are on it. It essentially is all done in software and proms.
I
So,
think I
go
think
ahead.
Jeff Wilson over at the S100 Computers Group, I think
Yeah.
he's has one, and he's been talking about reproducing it.
Oh, I would,
Oh,
I would, I
does
would
that
pick up
is
one.
that the board with the Digitalker on it?
No, no
Oh,
speech on this
and it's a
one.
different board.
Yeah. That's why I thought the name Speakeasy. I think it came with a bundle of other cards I picked up somewhere. Originally that's what I thought it was. It ended up being cassette, but then essentially it's. I don't know if it's going to come up with the. I could probably stop blurring. Stop the blur. Um. So I'm not sure. Is that reversed or is that? It
That's
looks
good.
reversed to me.
That's
That's
Okay.
good.
good. Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. It's again. What is the guy's name? Moro. So I guess it's a predecessor to the CompuPro and all that kind of cards and stuff. Um, cool card again.
Yeah.
I wanted to play around with cassette. I just kind of happened to stumble upon it. Um, so
Yeah.
at this point, I'm just trying to figure out. They give great examples. The book, the instructions are pretty well done. Testing has been, working all right. Few quirky things. I'm wondering if I should. The proms are a little 6306, a little dip packages, maybe 16 pin dip packages. So I'm wondering, I have to find out if I can even read those. I almost want to pull them off and get a copy of whatever's on there before something happens. But then
Your
beyond that, go
your
ahead.
brown programmer might read them.
Yeah, well, so yeah, I have one of those GQ 4x4s right now. So I'd have to see if it's listed in there. That the only downside of that programmer is it only allows Windows software, and I tend to do a lot of Linux, so I keep one machine around for that. But yeah, so that's kind of I've been doing that. It's in the you can't see. I mean, if I turn that chair there, the setup's just on the table behind me. It's got it's I don't even know which cards are in there. I think it might be a Vector Graphics Z80. The front board is a Don Caprio front panel, Flex RAM, and Patrick's serial board. So that's my main way of communicating, seeing what's happening. It's running Jomon.
Come on.
Jomon. So far, I've been happy with what I did. Actually, it's
Good.
able to do the loading and that little thing I did for pulling off and creating hex file. Essentially dumping a hex file to a screen for any part of
Mhm.
memory was great because a lot of time I do a modify memory, enter in the little program that they want because they give all the byte sequences, and I take and I tell it to write that to a hex file format, and I take the hex file and just save it out, copy it off into my files, and then I can just cut and paste it in as needed with the load option. So, oh yeah, Joe Mon. I think next one someday it'll be Joe DOS. I'll have to do that. Joe PM. Joe PM. There we are. Not yet. It's another thing. So that's okay. That's what
awesome.
I've been doing. There's really not much I can demonstrate. If I get it working, I'll try to plan a demonstration, really quick thing.
Yeah, if you can't read those chips in,
Yep.
post the part numbers on the forum because somebody else probably has a device that can read them.
Hey guys, can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah, please.
Sorry, I actually have to take off. So.
Oh, okay.
So y'all
You're
have
going to the football game?
Yeah. We're going to visit my mother-in-law, and then going to some friend's house.
Okay, well, enjoy. Yeah,
Not a
I'll
lot,
try not.
not a lot to report from here.
Have
Okay.
fun,
Okay, buddy.
All right, we'll see you guys. Have a good weekend.
Yep.
Take
Take
care.
care, Patrick. Bye. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah. My
there's
wife's gonna call me in a little
there's
while
several
too. But go
people
ahead.
in the S100 group that have all kinds of different devices for reading chips.
Yeah.
And then there's I think I have the link to a guy that makes PALs, and he has the data for thousands and thousands of different PALs that went on the old S100 boards.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, because he made a PAL for me for my GPM board. I got the data from William Sudbrink, and I sent it to that guy, and he compared it to the files he had and that, and he says, "Oh yeah, I already got this one," but he didn't have it labeled for GPM. But now he's got it labeled for GPM in his stash. I guess it's
That's
more
cool.
than just the GPM.
Yeah. Well, again, it's something I'm gonna research and see. First, see if I can. I'd also like to see if I can get replacements. Just if I can get the image off, I'd like to be able to burn it as well, and have a few of the that's the kind of stuff I could see might have a problem. It also has some 2112 RAM chips, a couple of them. I think that was the number. It reminds me of Rush, the band.
2102.
Was it
2114,
2102?
2102.
Maybe it was 2102. It was 2112s in my head because of the band Rush. Let's see. No, I don't want to hold this up here. If I don't find it real quick.
I have a handful of spare 2102s I picked up so I could fix an IMSAI RAM 4A board. But and that's one of the things when I get those circuit boards back, why I wanted to have the thing boot to Amon. Is I can pull out the FDC Plus and plug in the RAM 4A and using Amon. The Amon to me was better at giving me the address of the chips than Altmon was on looking for RAM chips on bad RAM chips on a board.
So they label them as 2112/5039927A 4x256 NMOS RAM. There's 4 of them on there, and then one of the two of the proms are 3606, and one of the proms is I'm not sorry. I'm dyslexic, I think. 6306. I apologize. That says 4x512 prom, monolithic memories. And then 6301. So again, I don't know if any of that's going to be available or not. I love when you're reading the manual saying, if this test fails, send it back to us for repair. Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Send them a letter, see if it gets forwarded to somebody, and
yeah. So again,
yeah, I bought something. I bought one of those serial switchers recently. A couple of them. I think I showed them a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, and when it came, it was new old stock, so it had the registration card in it for the warranty. And the company still exists. And I came this close to just filling it out and sending it in and seeing what happened for a 40-year-old product.
Yeah, the RS-232 switch boxes I have, they still make those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I bought the first one, I thought, oh, I was lucky to get one of these.
Right.
Then when I started to get a couple more, then I realized that everybody's selling them and the company still makes them.
Yeah. When I bought the serial switcher, the automatic one, or the configurable one, I reached out to the company that made it. And they said because I wanted to see if there was newer firmware, because the firmware goes on ROMs on this thing. And they said, we don't know. Nobody that works here now worked here when those went out of production. And this guy responded, he says, I've been here 18 years. And we've never built those. And somewhere along the line, we lost all the documentation and all of because I said, "Can you send me a ROM image? I'll burn my own." Yeah, they did manage to verify that I got the most recent being relative, obviously, ROMs on there, but it was just funny. Yeah, nobody there had ever worked on one of these.
And it was lost forever.
But they still existed and they knew about them. They just did
Yeah.
never. Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was also nice that I could get this exchange with a bunch of people at the original manufacturer, even though they couldn't do anything. They at least were interested enough to communicate and pass on. It was quite funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah, Walt.
Huh?
I got my VT132 kit from Australia, so I'll be finding out whether it really is as horrendous as you say. I looked at the manual and it seems to have a lot of things in there that the simpler products are just missing. So for me, it might be the extra complexity is what I want. So I can do other stuff.
I've had one and I've been happy with it.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got two of them. I got well, maybe three. I've got one standalone and at least one, maybe two of the RC 1024 or 1014 versions.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the standalone. So I just need to start putting it together. This will be the first time I've ever tried doing surface mount soldering, so that should be entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I probably got turned off from it mostly because the keyboard, it was so that, you know, don't use the USB keyboard. That's all.
I'm not.
Because I could never get it to just consistently work while I'm typing. I'd be typing and then, you know, putting in the codes get through the menus, and then it would just like up into the ozone.
Yeah, if you dig way down into the manuals and the postings about it, I think the USB was kind of a afterthought because it sits there in place of the PS2, and I get the impression that it was only added because people kept saying, I want to use USB. So yeah, I got the PS2 version. I got the standalone. So I have a few hours of soldering ahead of me sometime this week to put it all together and hopefully not screw up, like I said, mounting the surface mount parts. Yeah, I watched a video on putting one together and mounting them. It looks pretty straightforward. You don't need any special
That won't be
tools.
hard at all, really.
Yeah, the video I watched just said use lots of flux.
Yeah.
I didn't even use flux. What I did was I tinned all the points where that ESP goes. I tinned them all with the soldering pin. Then I set the ESP32 on top and then just lightly ran over one side.
Okay.
And then ran over the other side. And it got straight enough to make all the connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the diagonally opposite two pins, you know, to hold it in place. And then I do the similar kind of thing, just spin along. And that's one reason why my nails are short right now. But normally I've got longer nails because if I'm doing resistors and stuff, I just use my fingernail to hold it in place.
Yeah, I've got.
I have seen videos.
I'm right-handed, so I've got longer nails on this hand than this one because I play classical guitar. You know? So there's no nails on this side.
Right.
I have seen them use a solder paste type thing. It gets like a flux thing, and then a little heat. And I bought one of those kits to kind of practice doing surface mount because for me I had to repair a chip. I had one that actually burned, and and I happen to have a heat gun, so I used that. It was able to do it, but in the end, I think kind of these guys. Credit. I ended up having to swipe it with a soldering iron across to make everything right, even with the. But it does that kind of cool thing where if you hit it with the heat, all of a sudden it just kind of the whole chip just kind of shifts and balance, lands on the pad. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a I think he's an English guy that's built his own CPU and everything else. Really interesting stuff, and I've been watching him, and he'd use his surface mount for everything. So he orders the boards with the mask and then puts the paste on there and then it has a heating plate that he actually uses to heat the whole thing at once. And it's fun watching it when he does them, because he does them on his videos, and you'll suddenly see all the components just shift very slightly and line up.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
really, yeah, it's really kind of cool.
And
I
he's
think,
using microscopic. He's using those little tiny parts that you can barely see.
Probably
yeah.
0402s.
Yeah.
I gave all the
Yeah,
ones I had to Terry. I gave him, what did I give you? About 100 of those little capacitors and resistors and
All kinds of different strips of all kinds of different things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're too small. You know, you're trying to get those little resistors in place, even with the fingernail kind of thing. I had problems with that.
Yeah, well, if you watch the guys who are doing it, like this guy I referenced, I mean, he's literally sitting there with a pair of tweezers and working under a microscope to place the parts, because your naked eye, you just can't see, and the parts are too small to touch, hold in your hands.
well, that's like the videos that Maggie Zen does too.
Yeah.
She does all like, you know, she shows repairing SMT components in it, and so she's got a microscope on the thing, and she has a lever on the side of her microscope. As she pulls the lever, it tilts the view at angles, and that, so she gets the right angle, and then she heats the thing up, and she puts a lot of flux on there, heats it up, and has like tweezers and scalpels and stuff to pull the parts out.
You have to let us know how you do, Terry. I mean, not Terry, Tim. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
well, I know. I believe it was Jeff from the S100. He talked about having an oven or using ovens because he would do like batches of some of his ATX boards and other things. So that's kind of interesting.
I bought an oven from Elector magazine, and it turns out it was a British oven that ran on 220, just a little bit too small. It wouldn't handle an S100.
Yeah.
So I gave that one to Jeff, and I got the bigger version, and he ended up buying the bigger version too, the E462A or something like that. Yeah. So I've got one. I haven't really used it yet, but I've got one.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That magazine's interesting, by the way. Not to sidetrack too much, but I was looking at it. So great. You know, it was anytime just nuts and bolts disappeared, and I was looking for something like that, and they're like $150 a year or something for getting the magazine or something. It was something insane.
No, it's not that much. It was probably about $80. But if you order it, part of the problem with Elector is, you know, they ship from weird places like Europe, somewhere in Europe usually, and they charge you all these extra tariffs and everything else. Tariffs, it's just extra fees and shipping. I bought several books from Elector, and I've learned to buy the electronic version because there's no shipping charges.
Right.
You know, I complained to them a couple times. You know, you buy a $30 book and there's $40 in shipping.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the VT132 kit, I mean, it came from Australia. So I had to pay tariffs. I had to pay like $25 to ship it.
Yep.
But luckily he took care of all of that. So even though
Elector is a pretty decent magazine. It and what was the other one that's still around? I kind of missed Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah.
But that was more for the ham radio stuff than the computers.
Nuts and Bolts is still around.
They haven't put out a magazine.
Electronic nowadays.
Yeah. They're the one I'm thinking of, because I had a subscription to both Elector and a different one, and it probably was Nuts and Bolts.
I had a subscription to Nuts and Bolts. They weren't mailing anything, and then when I went online, there wasn't any. I didn't think there was anything new on their website. I thought it was all predated or these like 2023.
Back in the 70s, it was free. You could pick it up. You could pick it up at your Radio Shack stores, your Computer Depot stores, stuff like that, for free.
Nuts and Bolts.
That was what was Lemieux? I can't think of his name. I think it's Lemieux was his last name, something like that. But he died, and his wife took over the business. But she just, I think she just does it digitally now.
Yeah.
I don't know if Computer Shopper is still around electronically. I miss that from the old days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What is that other magazine? Not Elector. Be right back.
Yeah, please. I'm looking at Lector, and it looks like, okay, so I was looking at the print copy because I tend to like to have a physical magazine. That's just my
Right.
quirk. It says 144 euro per
Which
year.
is, and then and the dollar's in the toilet, so that's probably quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah. So that's I think that's what we're getting. Though, as to what Terry said, it looks like you can get a year for $99 a year, 8 issues digital.
Okay.
They even have a $10 4-month trial.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many things. So go ahead.
I already forgot the name of the magazine. I just went and looked at it.
Oh God!
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
I got some scans of the front of some of the 1975-76 newsletter magazine like things that came out back then. I got those on my webpage somewhere. I don't remember. It was like Computer Notes was one from MITS, or either MITS or Microsoft, was called Computer Notes.
Yeah.
And there was another one. I don't remember the name of that.
Circuit Seller.
Oh,
Circuit Seller.
Oh yeah,
I
remember Circuit Seller.
I remember
They're
that
still printing.
Yeah, I remember that from Byte magazine as well. There was a Circuit Seller column in Byte way back in the day.
Steve Ciarcia.
Yeah, I wish I still had somewhere in the past I got rid of, God, 10 plus years at least worth of Byte magazine.
I have had everyone back to the beginning, and I still have, I think, 2 copies of the original. The very first.
I gave all mine to Jeff Wilson.
I can't even remember what I did with mine, but I had, a stack that was 4 feet high or so, Byte magazines, and I got rid of them somewhere along the line. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, Mike.
What's going on?
One of the S100 Zooms, Jeff was asking for one specific Byte magazine, and I told him, I says, well, I got a whole bunch of them. You pay shipping, you can have them. I don't have the space to just keep storing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I still have a whole bunch of, I think almost all the kilobaud, kilobaud to microcomputer kilobaud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I might have some Circuit Seller magazines and Dr. Dobbs Journal. And
I love Dr. Dobbs.
Yeah, I remember that.
And before that, People's Computer Company. I still have a few issues of the what did they call it? Micro
Pending? Not my pending.
Micro 8 newsletter from Cabrillo High School. Cabrillo High School.
Cabrillo.
Cabrillo, yeah.
Cabrillo. There you are.
It was for the original Mark 8, and then it covered it went and covered a lot of other stuff.
So I do have an Altair topic after all, now that I think of it. So
great.
Last week, I guess, Joe, we talked about, or the week before, getting an FDC Plus and told you, hey, you know what, I'm going to put in switches to make it easier to pick another address, because prior to this FDOS, I didn't really find a great reason to do it. But so that board has the ability to do the FD360, FD3712, which is a good way to get 8-inch IBM soft sector standard with that board. Which, by the way, on a side note, you can use that on a 5 1/4 inch high density, the 1.2 megabyte just as well. Now, I have a special mode for it for the Altair drive. That's because that's a hard disk and there's timing issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But when it's the soft sector format, then you can just interchange, like with most things, an 8-inch for the 5 1/4 inch high density. So that although then you don't really need 3740 standard, because you probably wanted to trade some 8-inch disc. But if you just wanted soft sector for some reason, that's why the 1.5 megabyte floppy option on the FDC Plus also works with 8-inch or 5 1/4.
Yeah.
So any of the soft sector ones, you can use either drive. The hard sector one, I have to add a special mode for. But anyway, So I played with the, I always do things backwards. I do the circuit board and then go annotate the schematic. I had very old tools where they weren't linked to each other. I have done new stuff in KiCad where I have to do it the right order. But so I went and redid the schematic, the board layout, and I now have easy jumpers, so you can do the default address, which is 8 for Altair, or 80 hex like it was. That was the option I had in there before with a wire cut. Now it's just a jumper. And then you can also turn on the jumper that gives you C0 and 40. So if you pick 80 and put in the second jumper, then you get C0, which is the exact address that ICOM used. So all the original software would just run. So that way you can just pick it. And so while I was at it, I went ahead and got rid of the Phantoms jumpers, which were manual. Mm-hmm. So few people ended up using them. I had to think, well, why bother? Anyway, so now those are just Berg jumpers as well. Yeah. And the option to choose write through Phantom or read write Phantom, where it blocks both, is just a Berg jumper. And then some people, I think Tom Lake asked me, and I think Walt asked for it too, was my board, the way the switches work, to keep it simple, the prom switch says, here's where prom starts and RAM ends. And so the highest starting address for prom is FF00. So that means RAM ends at FF00. So you'll never get RAM in the last 256 bytes. But there's a very simple mod to get that, although I don't know how you would ever use it, because then you have no prom in your system, unless it overlays like Martin's 2SIO-JP could. Walt, did you do that? Did you do the 64K mod on the FDC Plus?
I haven't put any mods on my boards.
I could have sworn it was you. It was Tom Lake and somebody else. But anyway, so I put that in there. So now one of the dip switches on the RAM can enable full 64K as well.
That's cool.
Again, I don't know how you'd ever use that unless you've got something that can overlay it with ROM.
Well, yeah, you use like a Tarbell board or North Star board or somebody else that has a prom.
Right.
On
overlays. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do Phantom overlay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Phantom overlay. Yeah.
Or, like MITS did it with their turnkey board, just by the first one used transistors to overdrive the read status signal and memread, and then they used 6 inverters in parallel to overdrive it. They figured if it's high, we can pull it low. So they just literally overdrive it so that it doesn't assert, which is not the good way to do it. But
yeah, I think my CompuPro Disk 1, because it has a boot ROM that overlays RAM, and then as it executes, it turns itself off. Right. And I think that uses Phantom.
Phantom, yeah. So processor technology came up with Phantom, Sol 20 and all that, and that worked great.
Yeah.
And that's much simpler because, what's his name? Why can't I ever think? Ed Roberts put in the ability to do that by disabling the status signals. There's a signal that disables the status signals, and you can inject your own. That's how the first Tarbell board did it. And that's one of the way Martin's board, the 2SIO-JP, does it. But it's a lot of more parts. The Phantom is just a trivial solution.
Right.
So that's what caught on and ended up in the S100 spec.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm not going to run that board until I've sold all my other ones. But after talking to you, Joe, that really is going to happen. So you can have one with just simple jumpers, so you can put it back and forth all you want.
Oh yeah, I'll wait. Right now I have one of your boards already, so I can play. Keep playing with that. So yeah, when you finally get to it, you get the ROM. But yeah, you definitely want to sell what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Thanks. That's awesome.
Well, that's some 8800 news. That's about it.